Ryan, what do you think the expectation? We've been talking, and it's kind of it is a disappointing conversation when we're talking about a guy who's, I believe he started the All-Star game, didn't he, last year?
Alec Manoa, yeah. Well, he was mic'd up at it.
Oh, yeah, talking about punchies and this and that, and now we're wondering if he can get through 3 or 4. What are your expectations of him tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard, man. Like, we look at what he had to do from a physical standpoint last year compared to, where he was in previous years. And we just sometimes forget that kind of taxing on a body. I'm not saying somebody's hurt. It doesn't necessarily mean hurt. Like, I remember 2000 and going into 2000, and I jumped to 226 innings. And then the next year, start out the year, things are going fine, and all of a sudden it was just like somebody pulled an e-brake.
So are you saying there's some fatigue involved with Manoa, or what? I don't understand what you mean.
Yeah, 100% I think there is. And I think what happens is when we're fatigued, we get underneath the baseball a little bit. Then pitches aren't quite as crisp. Maybe we lose a mile an hour or 2 on our fastball. Our breaking ball doesn't quite bite like it used to. And then we start scrambling to try and figure out all these different ways to fix it. And it's hard to fix it in the moment. And, it's just a reality, right? Like, he went from throwing, 111 innings to 196 innings plus the playoffs. That's a big jump. That's almost doubling your innings. And, if you go across the board and you look at, his career high in the minor leagues, he just didn't throw a lot. There was 2019 with 17 innings, and 2020 is the COVID year, and then all of a sudden it's 2021, you got 18 innings in the minor leagues and 119 in the big leagues. That's just a lot, and when it's your first time. And so there becomes this shortening of stuff, and then you just have to figure out a way to continue to grind through it and get better physically. I don't know if that's a 10-day stint or a 15-day stint of just getting a little rest. It's a reality, right? We want to sit there and point to all these different things, but reality is there's this huge innings increase on something that, and you take that from the years before and the year before that, it's a lot. You had a lockout. You had all these different things that kind of play into that. So, yeah, I just think I personally, I might be wrong. I haven't talked to Alex, so I don't know. But just somebody who's been through it before, I know what it feels like when all of a sudden everything's going great, made the All-Star team, pitched 226 innings, went to Japan. Next thing you know, middle of the season in 2002, parachute. Whoa. Why is my ball not doing what it wants to do? I feel fine, but the reality is my arm is not used to this. And so then we want to search for all these answers, but maybe fatigue's a little bit of it. And then you start trying to create new things, and you create bad habits because you're chasing something that you're not accustomed to. And then on top of it, you're taking everything that's coming. Every day, this poor kid, and I'm not calling him a poor kid because I get it. He's getting paid millions of dollars. He gets hammered all the time, man, and everybody's got a reason why, and he's got 20 pitching coaches in his ear, and people say, well, don't listen to the media. Cool, man. He knows the questions that are being asked. He gets asked them on a daily basis. So I think it's just a lot, and he's got to find a way to just find some sort of peace and reset a little bit, and maybe that's a little bit of time off. And don't take it as an insult, and don't take it as something that is negative. Take it as the thing that you can use to make you a little bit better.
Ryan, if you were tasked with the responsibility of considering Manoa's long-term and short-term health and benefits of playing baseball, what would you do with him as far as what he should be doing and where he should do it?
Yeah, I would give him a breather. And it's hard, right? Because you can't do that.
What does a breather look like? Does it take 2 weeks off or what?
Yeah, just, maybe it's a fatigue and you go on the IL. Nobody wants to do that, right? If I could tell my younger self a couple different times, as I got older, I'm like, every old guy should get a two-start skip, But even as a young guy, there was times where I thought I was helping. I don't want to miss my turn in the rotation, and I'm helping the team, but also there was fatigue there. And it's all part of it. You're balancing this thing, but this kid's future is bright. He's going through it right now. He's on the struggle bus, and you got to figure out a way to get through that struggle bus and figure out a way, because ultimately the team wants to win, right? It's not a demotion of the bullpen. That does nothing. This kid is a starting pitcher. He's got the ability to be a starting pitcher. He just needs to figure out how to get through it. I've been there, man. I've been exactly where he's at. I've been at the start of the season after a month in 2010 or 2011. I was the worst pitcher in baseball. This is a true story. I picked up. I had my morning breakfast after a start in Arizona, and I went to go use the commode because I had to go to the bathroom. I sat on that thing, and I read the paper, and I was the last guy on the ERA qualifiers, 9.6. I sucked. I was the worst. I couldn't get – I'd go out there and get rocked. I struggled. And you just figure out a way. You keep working hard. You keep looking, make adjustments, whatever you got to do. He's going to be all right because this guy is a fighter. He's a first-round pick. He's got all the tools in the world. He's just going through a tough time right now.
So were you mapping out your plan while you're still in the washroom, like after reading the 966 immediately?
Can you enjoy a dump reading those numbers or not?
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, it was bad, guys. Like, you thought what was coming out was bad. What was going through my brain was worse. You know?
Well, you put it together.
A lot like what was down in there. That wasn't a pretty performance. And then I go out in L.A. 5 days later to go start, and I walk the first 2 batters on 8 pitches. Where do I go from there? And my catcher, Soto, comes up to the mound, said some things that had nothing to do with baseball. Zero. He didn't mention anything to do with baseball. And I turned to him. I was like, what? Like, I kind of snapped on him. I can't say them on air because I'll get canceled. But I just said, what? Like, are you kidding me? And he's like, yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, double play ball is good. And then he left. And I just got a double play ball. And then I got out of the inning. And then I go 7 innings, give up 1 run. And next thing you know, I went on a little bit of a tear. It can be something that simple. Get away from all of the baseball stuff and realize you're not curing cancer out there. You're just making pitches and you're trying to win a baseball game. But it's hard. It's hard to have fun when you suck. And that's the reality. But he's going to be okay. He's going to get through this because he's strong enough. He's strong enough mentally. Eventually something's going to click. You know, and maybe he's the guy at the end of the season that's carving guys up and helping this rotation.